If this doesn't make you furious about the state of modern wrestling fans, then I don't know what will. A 5-year-old kid just got to experience his dream WWE Superstar entrance, living out every wrestling fan's ultimate fantasy, walking down the ramp with pyro, music, lights, the works. And instead of the wrestling community celebrating this beautiful moment, instead of coming together to appreciate what makes our sport special, a portion of so-called fans are in the comments section complaining. They are actually angry that WWE gave this kid the experience of a lifetime. Let that sink in for a second. But here's what really makes this story incredible, and here's why those complainers are about to look even worse than they already do. The reason this 5-year-old got this opportunity, the backstory behind this moment, and what happened during that entrance is going to restore your faith in wrestling and remind you why we all fell in love with this business in the first place. And if you're one of those people who thinks a kid doesn't deserve this moment, stick around, because I'm about to tell you exactly why you're wrong. Let's start with who this 5-year-old is and why WWE made this happen. His name is Liam, and he's been battling a serious illness for most of his young life. I'm not going to go into all the medical details out of respect for his family's privacy, but what you need to know is that this kid has spent more time in hospitals than on playgrounds. He's undergone treatments that would break most adults. He's faced challenges that no 5-year-old should ever have to face. And through all of it, through every painful procedure, through every scary diagnosis, through every night in a hospital bed, you know what kept him going? Wrestling. His favorite superstar, John Cena. And before you roll your eyes or make a Cena wins LOL joke, understand what John Cena represents to a kid like Liam. Cena's entire character is built on never giving up, on hustle, loyalty and respect, on fighting through adversity no matter what. For a 5-year-old fighting battles that most of us can't even imagine, John Cena isn't just a wrestler. He's a hero. He's a symbol of hope. He's proof that if you keep fighting, you can overcome anything. Liam's family reached out to WWE through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which has granted more wishes than any other organization in their partnership history. Over 700 wishes. That's 700 kids whose lives were made brighter because WWE took the time to make magic happen. And when WWE heard Liam's story, when they heard about this 5-year-old who never gave up despite everything life threw at him, they didn't just arrange a meet and greet. They went all out. They gave him a full superstar entrance. Picture this: Liam walks backstage at a WWE live event. He's wearing a custom John Cena shirt that was made specifically for him. He's got the armband, the hat, the whole outfit. WWE's production team sits him down and asked him, "What's your entrance music going to be?" And without hesitation, this 5-year-old says, "John Cena's music, but can it be louder?" So they crank up the time is now to full volume. They set up pyro. They dim the house lights. They treat this entrance like it's the main event of WrestleMania. And when Liam's music hits, when those first notes of John Cena's theme echo through the arena, this kid walks out onto that stage like he's been doing it his whole life. The crowd erupts. And I'm not talking about polite applause. I'm talking about a standing ovation. Thousands of people on their feet, cheering for a 5-year-old who's been through more than most of them will face in a lifetime. Parents are crying. Kids are screaming. Even the wrestlers backstage are watching on monitors with tears in their eyes. Liam throws up the "you can't see me" hand gesture. The pyro explodes behind him, and he walks down that ramp with the biggest smile you've ever seen. He high-fives fans on both sides of the aisle. He slides into the ring. He climbs the turnbuckle and salutes the crowd just like his hero does. And in that moment, he's not a sick kid. He's not a patient. He's not someone to feel sorry for. He's a WWE superstar. Here's a question for the comments: what WWE superstar would you choose if you could have your own entrance experience, and what would make it special for you? I genuinely want to know, because these moments remind us why we love wrestling. But then, and this is where it gets infuriating, the video of Liam's entrance gets posted on social media. WWE shares it on their official accounts. Wrestling news sites pick it up, and almost immediately, you've got people in the comments saying things like, "Why does he get special treatment? I've been a fan for 30 years and I never got an entrance. WWE only does this for publicity. This is taking time away from real wrestlers. Are you serious right now? Are you actually jealous of a 5-year-old with a serious illness getting a moment of joy? Are you actually so bitter, so jaded, so consumed by your own sense of entitlement that you can't just be happy for a kid who's been through hell?" Let me address each of these garbage takes one by one, because they need to be called out. Why does he get special treatment? Because he's 5 years old and he's been fighting for his life. That's why. Next question. I've been a fan for 30 years and I never got an entrance. You know what you did get? 30 years of health. 30 years of being able to watch wrestling without worrying about whether you'd see the next pay-per-view. 30 years of taking for granted the things this kid has to fight for every single day. Be grateful for what you have instead of being jealous of a sick child getting one magical moment. WWE only does this for publicity. Even if that were true, which it's not, because WWE has been doing Make-A-Wish for decades before social media existed, so what? If the worst-case scenario is that a kid gets an amazing experience and it inspires other people to appreciate wrestling's positive impact, where exactly is the problem? This isn't the gotcha you think it is. This is taking time away from real wrestlers. The entrance lasted 4 minutes. WWE ran a full 3-hour show that night. Nobody's match got cut. Nobody's segment got shortened. This is the weakest, most pathetic excuse of all, and anyone making this argument should be ashamed of themselves. But you know what the best part of this story is? What happened after Liam's entrance? John Cena, who wasn't even scheduled to appear at this particular event, found out about Liam's wish and flew in specifically to be there. He waited in the ring after Liam's entrance was over, and when Liam turned around and saw his hero standing there, the look on that kid's face was pure magic. Cena didn't just shake his hand. He picked him up, put him on his shoulders, and did the attitude adjustment motion, like Liam was the WWE champion. He spent 20 minutes in the ring with this kid, teaching him moves, letting him beat him up, selling for a 5-year-old like he was Brock Lesnar. And the entire time, Cena's treating him not like a Make-A-Wish kid, but like a fellow wrestler, like someone who earned that moment. Backstage after the show, Cena sat with Liam for over an hour. They talked about wrestling, about never giving up, about fighting through tough times. Cena gave him personalized advice on how to stay strong during his treatments. He signed every piece of merchandise the family brought. He took pictures until Liam's smile hurt from being so big for so long. And when it was time to leave, Cena told him, "You're tougher than anyone I've ever faced in that ring." And that's the truth. That's what wrestling is about. That's what makes WWE special despite all its flaws and questionable booking decisions. That's why we fell in love with this business in the first place, not because of 5-star matches or perfectly executed storylines, but because wrestling has the unique power to create heroes that inspire people through their darkest moments. Here's another question for you. Have you ever had a moment where wrestling helped you through a difficult time in your life? Share your stories in the comments, because I think we all need reminders of why this matters. Now, I want to talk about the bigger picture here, because Liam's story isn't unique. It's special, it's beautiful, it's worth celebrating, but it's not unique. WWE does this all the time, and they don't publicize most of it. Do you know how many hospital visits John Cena has made? Over 650. That's not a typo. 650 times, John Cena has visited sick kids in hospitals, and the vast majority of those visits never made the news. No cameras, no publicity, just Cena taking time out of his insane schedule to bring joy to kids who need it. Rey Mysterio has his mask worn by countless children who see him as a symbol that you don't have to be the biggest to be the strongest. The Undertaker, who barely broke character for decades, has shown up for Make-A-Wish kids and been warm, kind, and completely present for them. Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Seth Rollins, virtually every major WWE superstar has participated in these programs. And it's not just the superstars. WWE's production crew, the people who normally set up 420,000 seat arenas, take the same care and attention setting up for one kid's entrance. The sound engineers who mix audio for global broadcasts make sure a 5-year-old's music hits at the perfect moment. The pyrotechnicians who create WrestleMania spectacles ensure that a child's entrance has that same magic. Everyone involved treats these moments with the same importance as a championship match, because they understand that to that kid, it is their WrestleMania moment. It is their main event. It is the most important thing happening in wrestling that day. So when I see people complaining about Liam's entrance, when I see jealousy and bitterness directed at a 5-year-old experiencing joy, it makes me wonder, did these people forget what it was like to be a kid watching wrestling for the first time? Did they forget that feeling of believing these superstars were real-life heroes? Did they become so cynical about the wrestling business that they lost sight of what makes it matter? Here's my final question for the comments, and I really want you to think about this one. What can the wrestling community do better to support moments like Liam's entrance instead of tearing them down? How do we shift the conversation back to what matters? Because here's the truth, wrestling is at its best when it's creating moments like this, not when it's pushing storylines that pop the internet. Not when it's delivering dream matches that get 5-star ratings. Not when it's shocking us with returns and debuts. Wrestling is at its best when it's making a 5-year-old feel like a superstar, when it's giving hope to someone who needs it, when it's proving that good still exists in the world. Liam's entrance wasn't about WWE getting good publicity. It wasn't about John Cena adding another Make-A-Wish to his record. It wasn't about wrestling news sites getting content. It was about a kid who never gave up getting the reward he deserved, a moment of pure, unfiltered joy. And if you can't celebrate that, if you can't put aside your complaints about booking or your frustrations with creative decisions or your cynicism about the business for 4 minutes to be happy for a 5-year-old, then maybe wrestling isn't the problem. Maybe you are. Liam showed more courage in 5 years than most of us will show in a lifetime. He earned that entrance. He deserved that moment. And anyone who says otherwise can get absolutely bent. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you've had similar experiences with wrestling making a difference in someone's life, or if you think I'm off base here. Hit that like button if Liam's story moved you, subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for more real talk about what matters in wrestling, and turn on notifications because we're going to keep highlighting the good that wrestling does in this world. This is Wrestling Zone 1, and remember, never give up.